Hey folks, all month long we are focusing on finding the core here at Harmony Health, and today I'm going to bring us through a quick workout that has some of the core movements we have offered as tutorials. If you haven't had a chance to check those out yet, just look through this YouTube playlist that you just received and you will find them. But for today, I'm just going to move us through. I will offer some options to make things a little bit more accessible, as well as a little bit more challenging, but we are going to move through in a sequence that you might see in a class with us here at the studio. First and foremost, let's make sure that we always warm up appropriately. We don't want to start working and get into things that are not quite ready. So we're just going to roll around through the spine, through the shoulders, loosen up the neck, and just bring an awareness to all of these moving parts that we're going to be working with. I personally like to do some twists, some seated cat-cows, some circular spaces, and then after we've warmed up the upper body a little bit, let's also work into the lower body. So we can lean back just a little, keep pressing those shoulders down, holding the head and heart high. Switch the legs from side to side, just lubricating the hip joints themselves, and then begin to stretch those legs out. We'll pedal the feet, lengthen the spine so we're sitting tall right up towards the ceiling as though the wall has scooted in to support you in this upright seat. Inhale, raise the arms, maybe lift the gaze. Exhale, come forward and let's pulse towards the front for 10. Keep the energy pushing out through your heels, stretching out through the fingers. Shoulders stay back and in their place. Gaze looks ahead and the heart is lifted high. Just 2 and 1. Come on up. Roll those shoulders around once again. We'll bring the soles of the feet together. Similar movement. First, sit up nice and tall. Lengthen the spine. Feel grounded in the sits bones, both sides. Reach the arms out in front of you. Hold shoulders close to the spine, so we don't want to curve the back to get more length of the arms. We want to lengthen the arms and seat the shoulders. Lean forward towards the front and then push. And we'll offer a little bit of a pulsing movement. And this time you're going to feel that the inner and outer hips are working in a different, perhaps more challenging way. Last 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come on up. We can hold the ankles and butterfly the legs up and down, working those inner and outer thigh muscles. Now I like to hold my hands together or pretend I'm holding on to a Pilates ball. You could keep holding on to the ankles. You could help the outer sides of the thighs by just resting the palms to the edges of the knees. Or you could bring fingertips down to the floor, whichever feels like the best and most effective way for you to work. Just for 3, 2, 1, and then we're going to plant the feet and slowly lower down onto the back side, beginning what I like to call our floating bridges. Press the shoulders into the floor, lengthen the spine behind you. Feet are going to be about hip width apart. So what that means is they are not wider than your sits bones, and the knees are looking up towards the ceiling, not to the sides or in towards one another. Arms can come alongside the body, grounded into the mat. We're going to inhale, lift the hips. And exhale, float back down with just as much care and consideration. Inhale, lifts the hips up. And exhale, floats back down. We're going to do 3 more of these floating bridges. Lift. And lower. Feel the whole spine connecting to the floor. Last one. Up. And down. And then let's lift and lower. And just pause for a moment
Press those shoulders more firmly to the floor. Take one more breath in. Notice if you're squeezing the bum itself and try to feel a community effort from the shoulders to the knees. And then relax the shoulders out. Come on down. Swish your knees from side to side. Bring them to the belly. Keep on rocking from side to side. And eventually rock forward and back until you can come on up to seated. So we feel nice, warmed up, everything's been spoken to before we get moving into this Pilates core practice. And we'll begin with our Pilates roll-ups. We're going to stretch those legs out nice and far. Toes are looking towards the ceiling. Feet might have a space between them so that the legs feel hip width all the way down, not wider or more narrow towards the edges. All right, inhale, sweep the arms up, reach high, and then exhale. Let's start by pushing forward today. Just find all that length coming down to the heels and coming up to the crown of the head and the tips of the fingers. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, we're going down, and there wants to be a curve in the abdomen until the head finds the floor. Breathe in, and then lift on up. Push, push, push all the way through and back to the front. We're going to do a total of 8. Here's number 2. Feel yourself control that roll down so nothing feels accidental. It all feels like it happened by design. Notice if your feet start pulling away from the floor. Mine slide in, that's okay. We just don't want them to jump off the mat when we're coming up. And then also notice when you come down, if you're finding it challenging to come up flat from the floor, only come down 3/4 of the way and then rise back up. So change that movement to half size. We got 3 more of these. I'm gonna walk myself forward. Exhale, roll down. And inhale, lift, exhale, push through. And we've got 2 more. Up, roll, release, all the way down, up, roll, push all the way through. Here's our last one. Lift and lower. We're going to come back up to seated straight, reach to the sky, and then relax those arms, relax those shoulders, and set up for our second movement, which will be the bent knee Pilates roll down. Again, knees are going to stay hip width, feet are going to stay hip width. Instead of arms going up towards the ceiling, fingertips push forward. Take your deep breath in here. Exhale, roll on down. Bit by bit, piece by piece, arms are going to stay forward. Breathe in. Exhale, push back up. We're going to do 8 of these as well. So it's slow, lower down. Find the floor and controlled pull back up. Seated nice and tall. That's 2. Release. And here's number 3. Come on down. Number 4, lift. And release. We got number 5, push all the way up. Notice what your feet are doing. Notice what your head and neck are doing. We shouldn't feel tension through the head and neck. That's number 6. Just 2 more, down we go. Number 7, reach and push. And then our last one, number 8, come all the way up. Take a deep breath in and wiggle things out. We're going to move right on into the 100. As we come to the 100, remember the spine wants to stay long, not curvy. And it doesn't have to stay straight upright. For most of us, it will not. But as you lean back, if you start to curl back, then we've gone too far. Options to modify, you could keep feet on the floor, toes on the floor, or you could even work your 100 from a seated staff. I'm going to show the full option. We're going to pull back into the legs, rise on up. Legs can go as high as you want. Find your seat, your V-sit or your Pilates or your yoga boat, and we're gonna just start pressing those arms down. Gaze stays up at the toes. We are doing a full 100, so I'm gonna count 9 more times for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Last one, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Pull those legs in and release. Come forward and relax. So we do count all the way up to 100. I like to count by sets of 10. It's just the easiest, and conveniently I have 10 fingers so we can get all the way there. We'll move down onto the floor for a few moments, and we'll work with some crunches from the mat. So remember from our tutorials, we were talking about lengthening the spine. Feel as though the belly is hugging both in and down so that we have that support of the floor. And then as you pull your feet up, you want to feel that now we're shifting into not just core of the abdominals and the back muscles, but the core that's starting to weave through the hips and into the thighs. We're going to start with toe taps. This comes from the hips. We're just tapping 1, 2. Today we'll do an alternate. Keep that neck nice and long. Hands can hold the belly. Hands can hold the floor. Hands can come behind the head, but we are keeping the head relaxed. And I'm going to count us down from 10, left, 9. Find your exhale on the part that's hard for you. 8. Keep that connection. You can always tuck fingers. 7 underneath the sits bones if you want a little bit of support. Here's 6. Hips stay 90 degrees when they're back in neutral. Knees don't change. We got 4 more. Here's 4 to the left. Last 3. Out. Just 2 more. 1, up, 2, up. Last one. 2, up, and 1, up. Relax those legs, bring the knees towards the chest, rock from side to side. That's our relax and release. From here today, we're going to work on pendulum. We'll come back to that tabletop, 90 degrees hips, 90 degrees knees. Hug the abs down. We're going to take the right leg off to the side and pull back in. Left hip wants to stay in place. Now you can flex the feet or point the toes. As long as your feet feel as though they're still a part of the action, we don't want to get all the way to the end of these beautiful active legs and find floppy fish feet. Let's come back in. We've only got just 3. Pull back. Last 2, pull back. Last one for the right side. Come on in and let's go to the left. 8 and center. You're going to feel the work getting harder as the knee goes further away from the side. Non-moving side stays grounded, stays connected. And we've got another 4. Center, 3. Center, 2, center, last one. Come on in, take a pause. We're going to do the same movement with long legs. So this will feel like a more challenging option. You could stay with your legs bent. So again, we're going to lengthen the spine. Find a whole back side connected to the floor all the way up to the shoulders. Lengthen the back of your neck. Feet can push out through the heels or point out through the toes, your choice. If you get crampy feet, I suggest pressing out through the heels rather than the toes. We'll go with the right leg first. We're going 8, center. Remember, this one's more challenging. You can always come back to a modified version, which doesn't mean you're cheating yourself. It just means that you are building up strength in a safer and more controlled way. And that's what we want. This is number 6. Come on back. Number 7. And back. Last one, number 8. And up. Let's go to the left. Open and close. 7 and close. The further out the legs are going to go, the further and more challenging this is going to be. We got 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come on in, bend those knees. This time, let's plant them to the floor. Swish from side to side. We're going to go with leg lifts, and then we'll come back up and take a cool down for today. Let's pull those legs straight up towards the ceiling. Pointing toes, flexing feet, your choice. Hold downward from the belly button as though it's buttoning you to the floor. Lengthen by keeping the chin maybe what is the space of your fist, an apple or a tennis ball. We don't have to see what's happening on the wall behind us, and we don't have to see what's happening on the room in front of us. We'll start with single legs, so we're going 8. Come on up. Only go as low as you can go without upsetting the rest of your spine. Small movements done well are much better than big movements done poorly. This is 5. We're going to go for just 3 more. Number 6. Come on back. Number 7. You should be able to talk while you're doing this. Last one, 8. And we're going to switch sides. Left leg, 8. Come on up. 7. Come on up. 6. If you feel yourself bowing up away from the floor, we've gone too far. Take a smaller movement. We do not need to get close to the ground. Last 4. Last 3. 2 more. 1 more. Come on up. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to do alternating legs like a scissor kick, and then we're going to do both legs, and that will be our practice for today. Again, if you've got any concerns for the low back, you can bring your hands under the seat, and that can help to support by shifting the way your pelvis is in relationship to the floor and helping your low back. Let's come on up. I like to bring my hands behind my head while I'm here, but if you start feeling your hands push your head up, then we want to release that movement. We're going to do 8 on each side, so I'll count to 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Bring them both up, and we're going together. Just 1 and lift. 2 and lift. 3. Most of us don't go as far on the doubles because they're harder. 4. Halfway done. Just 5. 6. 7. 1 more, and then we're done for today. Number 8. Oh, bring those knees to the belly. Rock from side to side. Rock forward and back. Come on up. Allow your legs to fall into their comfortable, easy seat, crisscross applesauce, whatever it might be. Ground down, hands onto the thighs. Push forward and rock from side to side. We want to always make sure that after we've asked these things to perform so well for us, that we give them a little bit of love with some great big stretches afterwards. Come on back up. We're going to switch over, coming into a tabletop. Tuck those right toes, push back and forth, and you want to feel this all the way from your heel to your hip to your shoulder. Nice big stretch out. And then we're going to take a moment to just cross over the left leg. We're not going all the way into a yoga pigeon. We're just coming into a great stretch. You want to feel the hinge side of the right hip, the long leg behind you pushing out. Bring your chin to the chest. Bring your gaze up. We'll do that one more time. Nod the chin forward. Nod on up. Look from side to side, left and right. Come on back. We're going to walk those hands in. Tuck the right toes. Bring the knees back into a tabletop. Wiggle out the spine. We'll do that on the other side. Left toes push back, push forward and back. Heel through the hip into the shoulder. You're going to feel everything moving. 3, 2, 1. Then we're going to cross the right leg over just a little bit. Untuck those back toes. We'll stay up on the hands. Nod the head up and down. So similar to our pigeon, not exactly the same. Turn the head from side to side, left and right. And tuck those back toes. Come on back to your tabletop. Tuck all 10 of the toes. Inhale, reach the arms up and open those arms wide like the letter Y. Stretching the front of the body, roll your wrists and fingers around in circles. Bring the hands back and roll the shoulders all by themselves. Thank you so much for joining me for this practice.